everybody, Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty here, proud member of the Wolf Pack. Today we're going to talk about the downsizing conundrum. Have some current clients who happen to also be my mother and stepfather that have gone through the downsizing piece. Also helped many clients make that emotional, tough decision. So today we're going to dive into all the emotions, the three different types of buyers we typically see, and kind of what goes on there. So stay tuned. Today, if you like what you hear, smash that like button, give me a comment. Love engaging with all of my viewers, and if you like what you hear, please subscribe, hit that bell. You'll get notified when I come out with videos each week. As we jump in, let's jump right into the downsizing conundrum and what we're seeing out there. Kind of three different areas of downsizing or options when you're looking to downsize as far as the financing piece. Sometimes people come all together. And they're saying, okay, like paid off our mortgage, we're good to go. We have a lot of cash to put down. We're selling a more expensive house, a bigger house, and buying something that's a little less expensive. So that buyer usually comes with cash. You know, they kind of have a little upper hand in the process, but not always in this market, as we've found out that lenders have gotten very creative in some of the incentives they're offering. So that home run cash deal is not always the best for the seller, but obviously there's those people, and for those people, it's kind of, you know, the biggest thing is like, wow, I'm buying this house for more than I bought my forever home for, you know, back in the day. Obviously they're selling that forever home for a lot more now, but that's always a kind of a weird, you know, phenomenon to get over, because you know, even the bigger houses that we live in now, when they first started, were, you know, maybe $250,000 for a really nice house, and you know, now they're selling for $750 or something crazy. And you know, the downsize home in our market's about $400,000 or so. You can get a nice little townhome or small ranch or something. So there's that buyer as far as the cash. There's also the buyer that maybe got into the real estate game a little late. Obviously, if they're downsizing, they are, you know, going from a bigger house. They own a home, but maybe they have, you know, 20% down, and now we're on a fixed income due to retirement, and we are, you know, limited into, you know, what we can qualify for. So you obviously, retirement, you're not making as much money as maybe you did when you were working. You have that limitation, and okay, so this is kind of what we can afford, and that's always sometimes tough to kind of go from there and really gauge out that monthly payment, because there's no more variables when it comes to that. It's a fixed income. This is what we can afford. This is what we need. So even though you may qualify for higher, this is, you know, this is what we have to do. We have, you know, these other costs, car payments, you know, insurance stuff, whatever that may be. And so that's another type. And then you have also in the middle, kind of, you also have the reverse mortgage for purchase option. That is super cool. If you have 50% down, basically you can get, it's an FHA product, but you can get a loan and basically never have a mortgage again. And each month as you go, the mortgage actually grows. Like some cool options there. Kind of a cash buyer, obviously that's the most comfortable. Then you have, you know, somebody who has a considerable amount down, 20 to 30%, still have to get a mortgage, still have to qualify. And then you have the reverse mortgage, which is also a mortgage. You have to have 50% down. But then obviously, depending on your age, you can even get a check every month, borrow against your mortgage. So that's kind of a cool product. It's not as scary as it used to be. So those are the three people that come to me. Now let's talk about the emotional piece. Okay. Some questions like, where are we going to have family dinner? Where are we going to have Christmas? You know, things like that. And that obviously is very sensitive to some, and some people don't have family around. They go to the beach for Christmas or whatever that may be, Thanksgiving. And so that emotional piece is definitely something to get through. And then obviously, no matter who you are, you have a lot of stuff. If you have a, you know, say you're going from a 3,500 square foot house and you want to go all the way down to 1,000 square foot house. You don't want to care for a house that big anymore. you have so much stuff. And I have this conversation a lot because everyone's like, oh, we need this much space because we have all this stuff. And I'm like, well, why do we have all this stuff? Like, we don't need 4-bedroom sets. We don't need all this. So it's also that, but everyone kind of overcompensates for the storage that's needed and things like that, because part of the thing of downsizing is you want to have less. You're going to more of a minimalist situation. And then, other things to consider. How's your health? How's it going to be? I mean, literally, I'm talking to clients and they're like, yeah, this is going to be the last home we buy. So it has to be exactly perfect. And, absolutely, that would be awesome. But it is a fluid situation and you can always, make a move or, go from there. So you basically, the American dream, right? You have your starter home. Talked about that last week, actually. Then we have our forever home, and then we have our downsize home. So the forever home probably shouldn't be called the forever home, but that's what we call it. So there's a ton of emotion wrapped up in that. And so it's very important that you're taking a step back, trying to remove yourself from the emotion and really look at what you need, what's important to you. We're looking at older homes and older areas. Maybe we don't have master bedrooms and some of those things that we've grown accustomed to at that price point. And then, then you talk about, okay, well, we have a dog or we need a yard and that stuff. And you kind of talk about townhomes because you can get a little bit newer, but then you have HOA payments, but then you don't have yard work. All kinds of different things when it comes to the downsizing conundrum. And it's ultimately a super emotional feeling. Sitting there with clients that are talking about, looking for their, home. They don't want to ever move again, blah, blah, blah. There's obviously very deferring emotions that come into that. So the bottom line is make sure that you're prepared, take your time, obviously know your financing, how that's looking. And then what are the non-negotiables? Like, okay, we need a master bathroom. And then, okay, after that, we need a yard for the dogs, or, we need a garage because we live in a colder climate. We definitely don't want to, brush our cars off with snow or anything like that. And then it's floor plan. Like, we're mobile right now. Do we want to walk upstairs the rest of our life? Do we want to mow a lawn the rest of our life? Just those kind of things that, or pay someone to mow the lawn. All those things need to come into play, and you need to step back, try and remove as much emotion as you can, and push across the line. So overall, every situation is going to be different. Like I talked about, like if family's all here, you have a couple kids, whatever, they have families and they're close. The natural thing is still to gather at, mom and dad's for dinner. Do you have another option where, maybe one of your kiddos has a bigger house or something like that? And all that stuff plays in, but it doesn't have to be, the end all be all. You can still have, a nice Thanksgiving dinner and even an apartment. So all of those things play a role. And at the end of the day, it's taking a bigger picture, whole ball of wax, having your non-negotiables, just like any other home purchase, and, going for what you can. So if you or anyone is looking at the downsizing piece, first things first, start to minimize everything that you have. Don't save anything. I know we got a lot of people that collect a lot of things in this world. So the least amount of storage space you need and things like that, the more buying power you have. Because if you're downsizing from a 3,500 square foot house to a 2,000 square foot house, probably still don't, want to maintain that even. So all things to consider when you are downsizing. Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty, proud member of the Wolf Pack.